enjoying your holiday. Hope you are having a good time wherever you are. My name is Mary Onaife Edebi, and this is Business Around Town, the show we do every weekday, Monday to Friday, where we get to discuss interesting business topics. We give you news, business news, talk about work creation, and also coach. We have a coach right here where you could ask your questions and then get them answered. So we have a business coach every Thursday. That is the doctor for your business. You need a doctor if you want to be healthy. You know, you go to the hospital. If your business is having issues, you need a business coach. So we have him here every Thursday to take in some of your questions, some of your issues, the problems you're having in your business. So today we are going to be looking at the topic we started 2 weeks ago. It's a very interesting and a robust topic. It's how to help your business survive in a crowded or competitive market. So we've been dealing with this topic now for over 2 weeks, and today hopefully we'll conclude this series. It's been interesting. We've been able to answer some of your questions, and we'll be answering more questions on this topic because we have to break it down. How to help your business survive in a crowded or competitive market. So today I have my guest as usual. He's John Paul Iwuoha. He's a business activator who works with us. For more than a decade, John Paul has helped dozens of entrepreneurs start new businesses, raise funds, grow sales, optimize business models, and solve human capital and growth problems. His clients are active in industries that range from agribusiness and tech to retail, healthcare, manufacturing, energy, financial services, and other sectors or aspects of business. John Paul is an alumnus of PwC and qualified as a chartered certified accountant with ACCA. He's a frequent speaker and a trainer and judge who's worked with business networks and entrepreneurs focused organizations. So he's featured on different media platforms and he's prominent on LinkedIn. In 2018, he was recognized by LinkedIn as a top voice on startups and entrepreneurship. So, and he's a regular feature here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Today we talk business and you get free consultation. So let's get into it without wasting time. So how to help your business survive in a crowded or competitive market. Good morning to you and welcome. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Glad to be in the studio again.
Okay, good to have you. So last week we talked about the competitive market, how you can survive, some of the practical strategies that you can do, you could carry out to survive. You gave us 3, and we have others that you'll be giving us today. But when we started the series, we talked about how to help your business survive in a crowded market, and the emphasis then was on crowded market. So if you've missed out on the first season 1, was nice. This is the third season.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yes.
So the episode 1 of this season, you have to go to YouTube, check business, go to our playlist, check Business Around Town. You will see there how to help your business survive. You see the part 1, part 2, and now this is the part 3 of the program. So let's continue from where we stopped last Thursday. You could give us a 3 again, the 3 competitive market strategies that we can use, and then move quickly to the ones we have today.
Okay, so last week it was we talked about focusing on the value you provide and not the product that you sell, because people don't just buy products for the product's sake. They buy the product because of what they expect the product to do for them. The second strategy I shared was strategic partnerships. It works when you have like an alliance with people that serve your customers but with a different product or service. And the third thing I said was to focus on building relationships, not just transactions. Most businesses are focused on closing transactions, but if people are not buying from you after they buy from you the first time, it's very likely they are buying from your competitors. So the strategies I want to share today, I'm going to try to squeeze in as many as I can. The first one I'll start with today is the no frills approach. But essentially what it means is you're focusing on your core products. Now, there are industries that are structured in certain ways that you're selling similar products to what other people are selling, but there are ways you can unbundle. I like to use examples a lot because I know that we're talking to a diverse audience, people who have different kinds of businesses. So when I use examples, it should be easy for people to apply to what they sell and what they do. One example that caught my attention, she's not a client, but it's a school. And what this school does is, in fact, let me talk a bit about the school industry. Education is expensive. Primary education, that's what I'm trying to focus on. But if you ask why is the tuition expensive, many schools bundle a lot of ancillary products and services into the price of school fees. Most times they put in the cost of the school uniform in there. There's cost of lesson, there's cost of bus transport, and a couple of other things in there. So when they tell you the school fees, right off, it's high. So what this lady does is she separates the core tuition from the other things that are not directly related. Why do people send their kids to school? It's to get a good education. It's not to get designer uniforms. It's not for the lesson fee. That one is supporting. So what this lady does is when you ask for the school fees, they give you the cost of the tuition. Uniforms are optional. So the uniform design is very simple that you can sew it outside if you want. You must not buy from the school. I've had an experience before where you go to the school, they tell you, so why is this uniform almost 30% of the school fees? They say they import it from Turkey. They import it from Europe.
Is the quality, is this and that.
But I'm not sending my kids to school for a fashion parade. They're coming there for education. How much does the uniform impute into the quality of education itself? So unnecessarily, you are pricing yourself out of the market because you're adding something that is not really a core value to the customer. The customer's core value is that they want kids that have better education. But now you're pricing yourself up because you've included something like school fees. And when they ask you, say it's good for the branding, it's good for the design, right? People will not go to a school because the school uniform is nice. That will be a supporting feature. But the core thing that parents talk about is, I've seen an improvement in my child, the speaking, the confidence. That is what sells a school. And in case people don't know, no matter how much you advertise a school, the principal channel for selling schools in Nigeria and across Africa is referrals. It's from parent to parent. When a parent markets a school, the value is much higher than, if you like, buy billboards, put them across all the expressways, get all the center spreads in all the newspapers. Parents will not budge. But if they listen to their fellow parent talk about a school, that's how they get buying. So when you position things like, look at what is the core value for your customer. And that is what you should focus the pricing on. So that's why I'm using the examples of the school. That a school uniform is expensive is pricing you out of the market because that's not what the customer is paying for. But the example I'm using, this lady has said school uniform is optional. You can sew it outside, you can buy material, whatever. If you want to buy from the school, it's there. But the cost of the school uniform is very small compared to this other one. Bus transport is optional. You can bring your kids to school. You can make your own private arrangements. It is not compulsory. Lesson is not compulsory. Right? But when you start to see, in fact, at a point, when parents started complaining about the volume of homework that these children were coming back with, nobody told them to sign up for lesson. So all of a sudden, you're now seeing the core value, but it is separated from the core product. You know how much school fees you are paying, which is the main value. Then all these other things that normally make school fees expensive, you put them as optional. So the core message here, which is a no-frills approach, this was an approach that it wasn't really pioneered by them, but when you look at case studies like in business schools, the company that they usually use for this no-frills approach is Southwest Airlines in the US. So what it did is, when you want to book an airline, the cost of the seat is usually expensive. And most times they price in the cost of giving you lunch on the plane, a couple of other things. Southwest said, no, you are paying for a seat. You just want to move from point A to point B. So you only pay for the seat. If you want food, you buy. If you want any other things, you buy. If you want express check-in, you pay for all those things. So focus on the core value, then all the other things should be optional. And the interesting thing is that you may find that when the core product draws in your customers, they will then start to buy all those additional things. They
might even buy more.
Yes, they may actually even buy more. Another example I want to use, the food industry. There's this place it's a pet peeve of mine where I go to eat amala on the island, right? Yes. And this place it's in Victoria Island. You would expect that the food is expensive. Yes. But what they do is they make the food very affordable. such that people come in and they buy. But because it is crowded and, they don't tell you upstairs is for VIP. You pay additional 1K or 2K for VIP. Now, there are some people that will like their space, their privacy, and they pay that extra. They go up. The other thing is that if you show up, you go to the counter and order your food. But in VIP, they take your order and, bring it up. But the common mistake that the restaurant would have made is that everybody, because this is VI, everybody must come in, take your seat, and then we take your order. And the food will be expensive.
Yeah.
And if you ask why is the food expensive, they say it's because of the service, waiters, they are paying waiters and all that, right? But people don't come to restaurants for the waiters. They want to enjoy good food in a solid ambience, solid environment with good service. Yeah. So by splitting it down to say, if you just want food, it's affordable. Go and buy your food, sit wherever you like, and then go out. But if you want to experience the environment more, we have VIP upstairs. It will cost you more. So bundling everything might make you look expensive. But if you break it down to the core value that the customer is looking for, and then add other things as add-ons, as options, you might find out that you draw in people with your core product because it is more affordable, and then they will end up buying all the other add-ons that you have.
This will really work in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It will work with us because we're all about the price. We want to get good product at a very low price. Yes. I know of a brand, a milk, they sell milk. I don't want to call the names. When they came into the market, they could not compete with the big brand we already have. I don't want to mention the name, but everybody know that brand. So they came up with the one with 20 naira, 10 naira, you could feed your child, you could use milk. So, and that blew up the market so much so that the big brand had to start making the smaller ones so people could buy. So this thing you just shared now, I think it will sell, especially here in Nigeria.
Yes, yeah. In fact, I would further even accuse you of being able to read minds, because you just introduced us to the next strategy I want to share with this milk example you gave, which is that in a competitive market, one way to stand out is to look out for ignored customers, dissatisfied customers, unserved customers, and underserved customers. When this thing started in the 90s, if you wanted to take full cream milk, you had to buy tins. As at that time, there wasn't even refillable sachet. It was from 350 grams upwards.
Yes.
And there was one dominant brand for milk in Nigeria. So milk was seen like something that if you're either in the middle class or affluent class, you couldn't afford milk. When this new player came in, the ignored customers in the market were the poor people who could not afford to buy a tin of milk. So the sachet model came in. That was the first time the sachet model came in through the milk industry at that time. And what they did was they took over a certain segment of the market. The poor people who just wanted to take a cup of tea. They didn't have a need to buy a tin of milk and keep in the house, right? The interesting thing you will also notice is that even for people that can afford tins of milk, I had this conversation with my wife the other day. I said, I don't, they're buying this tin of milk thing. What it does is, it triggers higher use. So when you have a tin, people just go there, take 1 spoon, 2 spoons. Yes. But sachet somehow disciplines the use of it. So you're even seeing people who can afford a tin of milk. They go and buy sachet because when you have children and you just ask them to take, they will overtake. But if you say sachet, it's okay. This is your sachet of milk. This is what you're able to regiment it. Yes. So what you're now seeing is that approach has also taken off, even in the alcohol industry. Before, spirits were seen as things that you buy in bottles, it's for big boys and all that. Now you are beginning to see spirits in sachet. They sell it in sachet, even though it's leading to outcomes that will not lie, because making alcohol easily available can have its own social downsides. But bottom line is that the sachet model turned out to be a very competitive approach when you're trying to penetrate a market, because there are always ignored customers, underserved customers. Another example I want to use is, if you want to start a POS business, and the reason I'm using POS is, that was one of the examples we used when we're trying to give examples of very competitive markets in Nigeria. POS. Everybody's doing POS. Yes. If you want to start a new POS business, where are the best places to position yourself? Because particularly location has a big influence on how well you do. If you're thinking of positioning, one place you say is, if I can get a stand in a market, that would be a good location. And it's true. Most people in the market are there for transactions. They will need money. So if you're in a market, if you're at a bus stop, a major bus stop, that's a solid, positioning. Another solid positioning that may not be obvious at the beginning is to station yourself close to bank ATMs. Now, anybody who goes to a bank ATM is going there to draw money. But we have a huge volume of unsatisfied customers. Most times you show up at an ATM, they say there's no cash, it's not dispensing. Or they tell you network error. Or they tell you for some reason your account, you cannot, so you can't use your card to withdraw. But the POS person goes beyond just, you can do transfer. There are other things that you can do. So if you are noticing, almost in any place you have any major bank ATMs, you will likely see a POS person there, because what they are doing is they are feeding off the dissatisfaction of people who show up there to withdraw money but are unable to withdraw money for whatever reason. Sometimes it may be as simple as there's a lot of crowd there and this person is on the clock. They don't have time to waste. They can't be on the line. So because of convenience, they come to you. So even in markets where you have a lot of competition. Another one I saw recently was one of the biggest top brands for paints. Paints for painting buildings in Nigeria. Yes. One thing you will notice outside of their color centers is you will notice other paint sellers around them. So one way to position yourself is to go and look for a big player in your competitive industry and stay close to them. Because when they feed, sometimes out of arrogance or sometimes out of limited capacity, they can't attend to everybody. So sometimes you walk in there, they don't have the colors you want, or they are too expensive, and you tell them, "Oga, leave, our paint is almost as good as their own, but see how much we're selling at," right? So at some time, it may not help you to run away from your competitors. If you bunch, if you are together, that thing that happens when somebody is well fed and they don't care about certain kinds of people, you can benefit from that. To close this point, I have a client in Ghana. She's an architect by trade, and she's also a builder. The interesting thing I found after, she got on board was that even though she's based in Accra, she doesn't deal with local clients. If you come to her and say you want to build, she's looking out for a certain kind of people. And the only kind of people she builds for are Ghanaians who are based outside the country, who are based in the US, Canada, or UK. She only builds for diaspora people. And she has specialized that so much that she is far better at catering to this market, because if you listen to the needs of this market, it's different from a local person who wants to build. This is a market that is pained by maybe disappointment. They've tried to get people to build for them. And you know the way it is in Africa. If you're not on ground, your work is not going on. They tell you all sorts of stories. You send money, they eat part of it. So that audience has a lot of unique needs. And what she sells really is trust. Because the moment she builds and delivers, people in diaspora, they talk to themselves. Yes, they say, go to her. She's very so she has a lot of work. And diaspora people are not as price sensitive as local people. Yeah. Because they earn in dollars or pounds or whatever. So she's able to get away with a higher profit margin, even though she's operating locally. But because she's focusing on a market that is ignored. If you're doing business in Nigeria, you have not even finished dealing with your local clients, let alone looking outside. But this is somebody who has looked at a dissatisfied segment of the market and she has niched down. So the message of this point is that in every competitive market, there are ignored customers, there are angry customers, dissatisfied customers, unserved and underserved customers. So if you can focus on them, you will create a lane for yourself that even though everybody is competing, you just have your own lane and you've taken over that side.
This point that you gave is very, very true. I've tried it before. I did a business from a bigger business. I saw that people were doing this business needed huge investment to start. Huge investment. So what I simply do was just to place my business by the side of that business. So, okay, you need half of that money, not even half, just a quarter of that money. I will set up this for you. And people that are trooping in. So no advert, nothing. I got good clients just from feeding off that big business. So these are practical.
Even this is a lesson from nature. There is I know back then in biology, there's this thing they call it's symbiosis and commensalism. They said that there's a relationship between a shark and a remora fish. So a shark is looking for big food. It's not interested in crumbs. But the remora fish feeds on the crumbs, as in it is big food for the crumbs. So don't look as if you are competing with your bigger competitor who is a shark. You can't beat them. They have deeper pockets. They have more experience. They can crush you. So don't try to compete head on. But if you look at the things they don't care about, as in customers that are either too small, too problematic, too needy, the bigger a company gets, the more you want to standardize. That's the thing with big companies. But the thing with standardization is that you are not able to take care of people that want tailored and customized solutions. Those people want something that is personalized for them. For a big company, that's a waste of their time. They do everything standard. Take it or leave it. Yeah. Now, take it or leave it is an advantage for you if you're a smaller player. Because for those people who are not suited for a standard product, and you can bring them in with, we offer tailored, customized solutions. We provide a product that is tailored for you, not something that is for everybody. So that is another way to enter it, because even if you have big players, I don't know, the ride-hailing platform, the biggest one that came out first, the one whose name actually represents the industry. When they came out, they were doing shakara for everybody. It's either take it or leave it. Another company came out, offered better terms to drivers, and stole riders from them. You would have thought that's the end of the story. But another one came out and said, there are people who want to ride and they don't want you to just tell them a price. Take it or leave it. I want to be able to haggle or bargain with the driver. I tell them I'm going to Yaba. I have this, how much I have. Yeah. I don't want a system to determine that. And that new player came in, is active in the Lagos market, and they're also making it, right? So there's enough for you to get even in a crowded market. But you shouldn't be looking at it the same way other players are looking at it. Look for those customers that they cannot meet their needs or satisfy. Or look for something people are angry about. In every industry, customers are angry about something. So, for example, if you there are some industries you talk about today, the problem is terrible customer service. They treat you as if you are a nobody because it's a take it or you leave it. That is something you can feed on. In fact, you can build a successful business entirely on we put you first. Customer experience, customer value, things like that. So look for what people are angry about, look for what they are complaining about, and then build your competitive advantage on that.
Great, fantastic. Thank you so much. I wanted to talk about the example you gave, the Lekki restaurant. That one that caters for people. If you have small money, you can eat from there. If you have big money and you want more, you can also eat from there. I will talk more about it, but I've been prompted. We need to go for a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversations, and then we open the phone lines on time so that we could get all the questions in. So we'll go for the break now. We'll be back after this.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up. BOP TV.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less. The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and cold berry ice cream delights in every scoop. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and cold berry ice cream at 11 Road by First Avenue, Festac Town, 28 at Denira Ogusanya Street, Surulere, 13 Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. Romeo's Pizza and cold berry ice cream. Romeo, the pizza champions.
Are you looking
Looking for the perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42, Muritala Muhammad International Airport Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in a beautifully appointed rooms featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your everyday need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop-off from the Lagos Airport.
Take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant.
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So, why wait? Book your stay today and experience ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
There are about 3 major ways to get out of debt if your business owes a lot of money. You can restructure the loan, you can refinance the loan, or you can sell assets to liquidate the loan. So when it comes to restructuring a loan, you can negotiate the interest rate or the outstanding balance or the timing of the repayments. So negotiating any of these 3 things can buy you more time and reduce the pressure on you and your business. My name is John Paul Iwuoha. Join me on VOP 90.3 FM every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. to get more insights and strategies that will help you build a successful business.
Voice of the People 90.3 FM. The program is Business Around Town, and my guest today is John Paul Iwuoha. He's a business activator. We've been talking about how to help your business survive in a competitive and crowded market. How do you survive? We've given you some pointers, practical tips of what you can do. We'll still have some more, but I want to open the phone lines so that you can call in and be part of the program. You can ask questions concerning your business. It might not be this particular topic, but business related, maybe an issue you are having, how to scale, whatever, you will get answers. So the numbers is 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. For WhatsApp is 0700 903 903 9. That is for the WhatsApp. And we are streaming on YouTube too. So you can go to YouTube, you watch us there, you leave a comment. Now, to carry on this conversation, because we have limited time here, we just have about 24 minutes and we'll be done. So to carry on this conversation, you want comments there. State what you want to talk about, whatever the question is, and then John Paul will respond to your message on YouTube. He will respond to it and answer your question. So that's how we could continue the conversation even when we are done with the program. Because many a times when we're done, I get questions and I'm like, I'm no longer on air. John Paul is not here. So go to YouTube right now. We're streaming live, Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Go there now, leave a comment, ask your questions there. It will be answered. Now, back to the conversation. Before we went for the break, I was talking about the example you gave in Lekki. You said those high profile areas. Most time when you go to buy products there, whether to eat in a restaurant or whatever, the price is usually very high because the money they pay for rent and they pay for things, they put it on the things they sell. But what you found out from that business, the example you gave was that, okay, these people, they price the products
Itself, the food itself.
The food itself, yeah, the restaurant, they
price the experience separately.
And the experience separately, which is a very good strategy. Now, my question is for a business that say that kind of strategy and maintain class and also earn money and continue to do their business.
Okay, so generally, it's not possible really to eat your cake and have it. There is a greed. a grid of 4 parts that a business can compete when it comes to how you make sales in terms of the relationship between price and volume. You can have a high margin, profit margin, and low volume. So your profit margin is high, but your volume is low. An example would be for like Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce doesn't care about selling to everybody. In fact, I would rather wager that it's unlikely you've seen an advertisement for Rolls-Royce. They will not advertise where most ordinary people will see the cars. Where they advertise will be like air shows, where people who want to buy private jets buy. That's where you'll see Rolls-Royce ads. Rolls-Royce is selling to people that want to buy private jets, not people who want to buy cars. So that's how exclusive they are. If you want to buy any other, you can see your Toyotas and the rest of them. Toyota sells on volume. If you think of a Toyota, what they sell on is where, fuel economy, reliability, all those things. So they are focused on the volume. So this is a clear example of, do you want to sell on profit margin? You will not have a lot of volume. Maybe in a year, you just have a couple of customers, but for each customer, you are really cleaning out. So a good example would be if you offer tailored solutions, if you offer bespoke solutions, if you sell luxury items, you might see they may not knock on your door every time, but whenever they knock, some businesses make the amount of money that covers them for a full year from one customer. And sometimes in a whole year, they may not have any customers and they are fine because they know who they are choosing. So you cannot say you want to be premium and you're complaining that people are not knocking on your door. They are not coming in. You need to know what you sign up for because you are forgoing volume for margin. There are some businesses that do volume, but just a small margin. So what those ones do is they want people to keep coming in. The more people you get coming, you're not making a lot of profits, but you're going to make up for the sacrifice in your profit margin from the volume. The worst kind of business you want to be in is low profit margin, low volume. That is a zombie business. In fact, you're already dead. It's just that it's either you are subsidizing that business or you're getting money from the outside. It doesn't make sense if you want to compete with a low profit margin and low volume. Then there are the few select ones in this world that have gotten away with high profit margin, high volume. An example I can think of is Apple. Apple phones are like that. Nike is like that. They are sneakers. They make it for pennies and then they sell for high margin and they sell high volume. But not everybody can be a Nike. Not everybody can be Apple or an iPhone or something like that. So most businesses I know are either high profit margin, low volume, or high volume, low margin. Of course, there's a way you can tweak to be in between, like the restaurant business I told you about. They are making volume on the food. They are making margin on the experience, VIP. That is one way you can get the best of the two worlds. Yeah.
Which will really work well in Nigeria.
I forgot to mention, my offer is to the first 5 questions on YouTube.
Okay.
So the first 5 questions, I'm going to give you free consultation right there on YouTube. I'll respond. Ask your question there on YouTube. I will respond to the best of my ability. Yeah.
Great. So the first 5. Yeah. So ask away. Before I start reading out the questions here, and when I start reading out all the questions, it's going to take time for you to answer. I'd like to just give us the last one, one of the things that you could do to stand out in a competitive market. I think you still have one.
Yeah, but I'm thinking whether we should just take questions. I'll just run through it, right?
Okay.
The last tip I'm going to give is that when you want to compete, most people fall for the trap of thinking it's only price you can compete on. If I drop my price, people will come. But like I said, bargain hunting is a personality and it breeds disloyalty. So you might enjoy more patronage today because your prices have dropped. The moment another person drops their prices, you will lose those customers to those people. It's not a sustainable competition on price. That's why even in economic business terms, they call it a price war. It's a dive to the bottom. And the only person that enjoys that kind of fight is the customers. Because as you cut, people will just keep jumping to other places. So beyond price, there are other things you can do. Usually I teach this as the 7 elements that make up, your offer. So you're not selling a product, you're selling an offer. That offer is made up of 7 different things, but I'll only touch on a couple of them. The first part of your offer is your product, what you're actually selling, the value that you want the customer to get. The second is your price. The third thing you're offering that many people don't talk about is payment terms. If it will be easier for me to buy from you if I don't have the money now, we're starting to see things like pay small, flexible payment offers. All those things are part of the offer that make it easier for you to sell. We have options. So if you are telling me that rather than buy everything, I can buy it in batches, or I can choose what I want. Like you're offering me like a bouquet or a buffet of services rather than buying one whole thing. That is something too that can work. Risk reversal. We talked about this in the last session. If I buy from you and this thing is not working for me, or I don't want it anymore, what happens? For most businesses, if you return it, they will not refund you.
Yeah.
They will ask you to pick something else.
Yeah.
But if you offer a level of relationship where you share the risk with the customer and say, if something goes on, it's either I repair it or I refund you. It can either be a refund or a return policy. These are just a couple of things that can help you enhance your offer. Remember, you're not selling a product. You are selling an offer. And an offer is made up of much more than your product.
Thank you. So now to the questions right away. This one says, good morning to you and to your beautiful guest. I'm listening and I'm so eager to speak to you guys in the studio. I, for one, I am a fashion designer that have been doing this business for 2 years. I learned 5 years ago. I opened my business 2 years ago. I make children's clothes, and I also make for adult females. And I've been trying to get some sales. I look at the internet, Instagram, and I see people charging very high amount for their clothes. And I know how to make clothes, but I'm scared to charge the amount I see people charging. So I make clothes of 5,000, 2,500, 3,000. How do I get out of this fear and begin to charge my worth? I'm afraid that I may not get customers.
Okay, so the first place to start is for her to understand who she's competing against now. Right now, at that price, she's not competing with those people she's looking at who are selling at high prices. Right now, she's competing with the second-hand Okrika used clothing market. Because the kind of customer who will buy at that price is also looking at what they can get in the Okrika grade. And if you go to like Okrika first grade, where it looks like almost new, why should I buy from you? Because at that point, this is like imported and you are local. And then if I go and take the I wash it up and it's looking really nice. So that is, and it's a very competitive space because you are dealing with customers who are price sensitive, they have limited budgets, and they are looking at more at the functionality of the clothing and not the fashion sense of it. People who pay more for fashion are not just looking for clothing to cover their bodies. They are looking for something that projects their personality. They are looking for something that makes them more attractive. They are looking for something that makes a statement. And that's what you are selling. So that's why sometimes if you go to some of these fashion houses, they invest more in interior decor than even at the actual thing that they are selling because it's a statement that you're trying to project. It's a class thing. That's what it is. It's not just about the price. She's not going to raise her price and people are going to say, oh, because your price is high, you know. So there's a lot that comes with that. If you charge 50,000 naira for a piece and they say, okay, I want to come and try it on. Where is your showroom? You say I should come to Ikorodu. It doesn't match, right? So there are some things now that are going. So why I'm saying these things is that it may be a hard conversation for her to say, you know, maybe I'm even better off looking for how to import like high grade used clothing than this one that I'm doing. Because even in this economy, that price range now, the competition there now is bloody. Because people in that segment are looking for clothing to cover their children without it looking as if things are bad. And if you put it like that, Okrika is looking very, very good. Very, very good. So these are important considerations she has to make.
So the fear, because she says she's afraid, because she's afraid of increasing her price. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that there are some things she should consider before, or she should maintain the old price.
No, even maintaining the old price now.
And she see people charging high. She wants to, but she can't. She's afraid she might lose her confidence.
The thing that will determine whether she's able to get away with a higher price, because from what she's saying, she sounds quite confident that the quality of what she's making can stand for the price. If this assumption is correct, then the next thing she has to do is to work on the channel, how she sells, right? So if it's a thing where she sells on Instagram and then people buy without asking to see her or to see her location, she may be able to get away with it. But what I notice is that when it comes to clothing, people want to try on. They want to see whether it fits them before they buy. That's a risk she has to think about. How do I manage this risk? Which is that the kind of product I sell is one where people want to see whether it fits them before they buy. Which is why showrooms are important in fashion businesses, particularly the high-end ones. They invest a lot of money in their showrooms. So that by the time you come in and you see the quality of the decor and all that, it's already speaking for the price that they are charging you, right? So you come in there, you try it on, you like it. It's part of what they are selling you. A lot of fashion is not the clothing, because clothing is actually very cheap. Fabrics is cheap. What fashion sells is the experience. You know, what does it call? You buy a piece of clothing, they tell you it is 1,500 naira. You put on like a Balenciaga logo or something, all of a sudden it's 150,000. What has changed? I just put a logo on it. So it's not just, you know, so differentiate people who are looking for clothing and people who are looking for fashion. They are two separate markets. If I want to buy clothing, all that matters is that it looks okay and the price is right. What that means is that I'm looking beyond you. The Okrika person is a valid sell, and I will likely go there because it meets my budget. But if I'm buying fashion, you will never find me in Okrika because it doesn't fit the narrative. Or even if I buy from Okrika, I'm going to put in a lot of effort to make it look like it's not Okrika. Right? So those are the things you have to look at.
Thank you. Ngozi, I hope you've gotten your answer. Now, next questions. Good morning to you, Mary. Thank you for your guest. I'm really appreciating this program and for him willing to let us air our mind for business. I, for one, I'm into public speaking. I'm a speaker. I've been invited to speak in different places, but I've not been paid. I don't get paid, and I hear people say that when they speak, they get paid. I want to be a public speaker. I'm already speaking, and people appreciate me when I speak, but I don't know how to put a price to it. I would like to hear from you. That's one. Another one here says, hello, good morning to you. And Mr. John Paul, thank you for this free consultation that you were giving to us. I am a business person. I'm into spare parts. I've been in the market for a long time now, but I want to move out of the market into a location and be able to expand my business. I don't want to remain in that local market for a very long time. Please, how can I do this? Thank you very much. Should I go on with other ones?
Let me take these two first. The person who says he's a public speaker.
Yes.
Okay. So he says from the feedback he's getting that people like what he says.
Okay. I think we're getting calls. I think let me just pick some calls and file everything. Because, yeah, we might. Hello? Because of time. Hello? Hello, good morning to you. Hello? Okay. Hello? Okay, sorry, I can't hear you. I have to let you go. Please call back. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so for the person who says he's a speaker, the incremental approach I will use, which is like one way to approach this thing, is that if people are inviting you to speak and you're speaking and the feedback you're getting is good, that you're actually good, right? Let's see if you can fill up your calendar to a point where on days like Saturdays and Sundays, where you know that more people are likely going to be calling you, let's get to a point where you're getting clashes. So on a Saturday, you have like 3 people inviting you to come and speak. Because that is going to prove that you're in demand. Then that creates a premise to say, I already have, 3 potential engagements. What that does for you is to then introduce a price. Of those 3 people, the person who is willing to pay that price. Of course, pricing is something that is very psychological. Most people, when they are starting, they undervalue themselves. So they don't see themselves pricing a lot out of, for me personally, when I came out, the psychological barrier to my pricing was my last salary. I couldn't see myself earning beyond that last salary. So anytime I'm pricing somebody, I'm thinking, if I charge somebody, this whole salary was for a full month. Why would I charge somebody on? So I was scared, of charging, even though the person considered the value. So the first time it happened, I was thinking of this thing in my head. So the guy thought that, I will not take the job. So because I was delaying, he then mentioned an amount that was 3 times my monthly salary. I'm like, are you serious? The only thing that made that possible was that I delayed in response because I was stammering. I didn't know what to say. I thought that telling him my salary would have been too expensive, but he ended up mentioning something that was 3 times the price. So pricing is psychological, but get to a point where there's demand for what you're doing. And then because you can't be in 3 places at once, introduce a price. I know you're afraid that you might scare them off. It's a lie. There's a reason why they keep coming to you. So if you introduce that price gradually, you can start taking things up a notch. The second person talked about channels.
Yes, that he wants to move from the local market.
The spare parts industry, fortunately or unfortunately, the way it's structured in Africa is very different from the way it is in developed markets, where they maybe like the manufacturer of your car can call back the car, or you can order for parts directly from the manufacturer. The major influence on spare parts in Nigeria and even across Africa are the service providers, the mechanics. You see them the way they are. They are major influencers because car owners typically listen to their mechanics. They will not listen to a spare parts person, but they will listen to the mechanic because they feel the mechanic it doesn't have conflict of interest. Why will I listen to advice from a spare parts owner when I know that he's advising me so that I'm going to buy from him? But people listen to their mechanic because that you may leave the market if you don't like the market. But like I mentioned in last week, very important for that kind of market. You need more alliances with mechanic workshops and mechanics. Provide them an incentive to refer people to you. That is a sure channel that you're going to get. If you go into a spare parts market, there are two main people you see there. The majority of them are mechanics that have been sent by their customers to come and buy them. Only very few customers come to the market to buy themselves. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Strategic partnerships with mechanics within his locality will help.
Thank you. Now, before I read the next message, know that the YouTube is still open, so you could go there and ask your question. It will be answered even after the program. The first 5 people to leave a comment on YouTube asking questions about their businesses will get answers from John Paul straight up. So just go to YouTube now, drop your questions there. And the numbers to call is 0700 903 903 903 is the number. Why to send in a WhatsApp message is 0700 903 903 9. So this one goes, good morning, my sister Mary. Thank you for bringing in the guest to come and talk to us today. Myself, I am into hair business. I sell premium quality hair, and I've been able to sell to people abroad and people in Nigeria. I'm doing well for myself. I make over 250,000 naira every month, or good months I make about 400,000 naira just from selling hair. I sell on Instagram and also on Facebook, and I have a small place in my house where I design for this hair. I do videos and I upload, and I'm doing well. But I would like to scale. I would like to have a trade fair where I'll just be selling hair. I've seen some big people do it, some big brands do it on Instagram, and they make a lot of money. I want to scale to that point where I can have a trade fair for just hair. How do I get on that path?
Okay, I admire her ambition for a trade fair, but I'm looking at this from a risk perspective. Organizing any physical event requires upfront investment of money, and there's no guarantee you get that money back, except there is like a solid turnout to that event. So the question to her, right back to her, would be, at the level of business that she has done now, does she have enough reach that will fill up that event to cover the cost of organizing such an event? Because there's a reason why people who sell hair choose Instagram. It's a product that requires visual appeal. So sometimes you see the people who sell a lot of hair on Instagram, all they do is they wear the hair, do their makeup, and they are dancing to some music. And they are just, waving and bumping the hair up and down, and that's really what sells. So I would rather double down on something that is already selling than look at something that a bigger company or a bigger brand is doing and assume that is also going to work for me. Some of these big companies and brands don't actually make money on the events. It's a long game that they are playing. For them, it's a marketing expense. They just do it to generate, to show up their reputation, improve the visibility of their brand. They may not make a lot of sales to cover the cost of that event. So the question will be, if you organize that event, are you sure you're going to recoup your money? Because physical events, unlike something you do on Instagram, Instagram doesn't cost you as much as a physical event where you go and rent a hall and, set up all those things. So if it's not necessary, don't do it here. Use options that are scalable, that don't cost you as much, and allow you to just keep selling so that you can accumulate capital. When you accumulate capital and you think you can take that kind of risk like the big brands do, then you can organize a physical event.
Thank you. That's a good answer. Thank you, Ngozi. I hope you got your answer. Another one here. We have 2 minutes to go. Okay, what we can do is transfer the question to YouTube, because we can't. Your questions are usually It takes time to answer. So transfer it to YouTube. Go to YouTube now, Voice of the People 90.3 FM. When you search for it, you will see us live. Or after the program, you have to search for the playlist, look for Business Around Town. You're going to see the latest edition of the program there and ask your questions. You will get an answer because we don't have enough time. So to round off the conversation today, we have 2 minutes before we go. I would like you to give us a summary of all of the conversations we've had regarding this topic.
Okay. So I would just like to reiterate that the first 5 questions on YouTube, ask whatever problem it is, as long as it's about troubles you're having in your business. I'm going to attend to it right there on YouTube for the first five people. Interestingly, we thought that this was going to be a 1-session conversation, and here we are, part 3 of competition and crowded markets. And this just tells us how important it is, because people start businesses sometimes with a lot of hope and aspiration. They'll say, it will sell, people will buy. But the thing is, you forget that there are other people like you who are also thinking the same thing. And every night you go home and pray for your business to grow, they're also praying. So they want to come out and compete. And I hope that if you've been following these sessions, if you haven't, go to YouTube and you can start from the very first one. Crowded markets are a blessing. They are not a curse. In fact, if you want to start a business that nobody's doing, that's a red flag. Because there's a reason why nobody's doing it. It's very likely, particularly in a very creative and an entrepreneurial market like Nigeria, somebody is not yet doing it. I'll ask you, as they will say in all these skits, run before you even go and try it. So, but if you're going into a market that is already competitive, it's a sign that there is demand. And what it means is that you have a higher likelihood of selling from day one. You don't have to start struggling to build market demand. So implement them, and I want to start hearing every Thursday, 9:30 a.m. I'm going to be here, and I'm looking forward to the next topic next Thursday. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now for the YouTube again, go there because your questions, I have them here, can't be answered. Just go to YouTube now, Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Search the playlist. You'll see Business Around Town. You will see the latest edition of the program you see John Paul there. So ask your question under the comment. He will go there and answer your question. So you get a free consultation on any aspect of business. People usually pay for this, so you could do that right away. Thank you for being part of the program. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, John Paul. John Paul is a business activator. Good to have you.
Thank you.
See you again next week, Thursday. Yes. So coming up next at 10:30 is Area Matter. Keep it here. This is the Voice of the People.